I'm out here today trying to decide what colors I'm going to paint this house that we're flipping. And I wanted to explain to you my process of elimination for my color choices. So as you can see, this house has a lot of browns and creams and sort of a rusty burnt orange color and white. So we're going to be changing the white. That's going to go away on the siding. Now we're probably going to keep some sort of off-white color that we're going to choose for the trim, but the colors that will be staying that we can't do anything about are obviously the colors in the brick and the roof colors. So that's what we need to keep in mind when we're choosing our color palettes, is what colors do we have to work with? What colors cannot be changed? So I'm going to come over here and get some close-ups of the brick here. And you can see that the soffit is kind of a chocolate color, and we do have the option to paint that. I have done that on the last two houses, but I think with this one, because it matches the roof so well, I don't think I'm going to mess with that. So I think I want to work with that color. Alright, so I prefer the Sherwin Williams color samples because I find that Sherwin Williams has much richer colors in their swatch samples than a lot of the others, like Valspar. I haven't been too impressed with the other companies' swatches. So I got this swatch at a Sherwin Williams store. It was only $15, and it really is wonderful to have these. Now, I can't see what you guys are seeing on this video, so I'm hoping that I'll do okay trying to show you this book and not get too close. So if I get something out of focus, I apologize. So what I do is I'll open up my booklet here. I'm trying not to lose the colors that I already have pulled out. But I'll take my little strap off, and what I'll do is I'll go through the swatch book here. I'm also trying to do this one-handed. But I'll go through all of the different color types, and right off the bat I'll pick out all of the color tones of all different varieties and shades that I might use. So I know that I'm going to want to go with a tan or a beige color for this house because it will be the most complementary to the colors that are already here. So in this swatch booklet, you can see we've got, a rainbow of colors here. But before, when I started, I had a lot more swatches out. So I would have picked out all of these browns here and just get all these browns out. Beiges, tans, things of that nature. See, they're all sort of similar. So I had all of these out. And then what I did was I looked at them in the shade first, and I held them up to this stone, and I looked at the entire swatch as a whole, not just particular shades, but I looked at the whole swatch because it kind of gives you an idea of the subtle hues in that particular swatch. So, for example, if you're comparing this swatch here, swatch palette, with this swatch palette, you can see that this one has slightly redder tones, and this is a less saturated, leaning more towards the gray tones. And the more that you look at colors and you really analyze them, you'll start to realize what the differences are. But I put these away because I felt like this one had too much of a pinkish red tone and it didn't really match, and this one was leaning too far on the side of gray. And these ones, when I held them up, I just felt like they weren't matching up quite well. So I ended up putting those away and narrowed it down to these swatches here. And so then what I did after I had held them up in the shade and narrowed it down, then I took them over here in the sun and I narrowed it down farther by having these swatches sitting over the part of the house with the colors that has the most impact. It's the most noticeable. It's on the front of the house, and it's got sort of a cream and rust sort of a hue to it. So when I'm going through these swatches here, I immediately felt like this was leaning on the side of gray, and that it didn't match quite as well as this one did. I feel like this one here is a perfect match looking at the entire swatch palette, not just one particular color, because this is showing me this is a particular hue or color range and particular saturation, and all of these colors are very complementary to all of these colors in here, and these not so much. Now I'm sure I could probably get away with using one of these two colors, but this as a whole is the most complementary. And these are close, but not as close as this. I hope that makes sense and that you can see what I'm seeing here. So I'm going to put these away, and I apologize if I'm shaking this camera a lot. So I've narrowed my swatch palette down to this here, and I think that that's quite complimentary. And the same thing I was trying to keep in mind when I was selecting that is what looks good with chocolate, because again, the soffit is a chocolate color and the roof is also a dark color. So these would be very complementary with a chocolate color, because chocolate has sort of a reddish undertone to it, and so does this. And the other thing that I'm trying to keep in mind is how's that going to look on a very large object. You wouldn't want to pick, see, I would never pick this color because it's such a bold color that you would come down the street and it would probably be almost shocking to see that color. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to go with one of these three shades here. And what I need to do now is take this swatch with these three colors and go around to the various sides of the house and hold it up against the house and see how it looks. And then you really need to try to visualize in your head what your house would look like with this massive color on it. And how's it going to look with the other colors on your house? And so I'm going to go all around the house and hold this up at different angles. And just try to confirm what I was feeling up at the front of the house there. And just confirm that these colors are still complementary in other parts of the house. And in doing so, I'll be able to narrow down these three colors, hopefully to at least two, if I'm lucky, one. But then what I can do is buy custom mixed paint samples at the hardware store, and then I can come back and test with my samples on a spot in the back of the yard and also the front of the yard. You want to try your samples out in different places that have different sunlight and different types of materials. So, you know, you could try your paint sample on the side of the house here, but you're not going to be able to really compare it with the brick. So you really need to kind of find a spot on the front of the house that has both the brick, the brown soffit, and the roof where you can see it, and the white or off-white cream trim that we're probably going to pick, trim color. And that's how I do the process of elimination for my paint colors. Hope this helps, guys. Good luck painting.